So I just got back from vacation, and as I was driving back to the airport, I had this immense feeling come over me, and it was so weird. But the more I thought about it, like this feeling that I was feeling was more common than what I thought. It wasn't just a feeling of sadness that my vacation was coming to an end. I think honestly, it was more than that. I was finishing up like a very fun week with one of my best friends, and all I could think about like the last day and a half before I came back was like, dude, I do not want to go back to reality. And all I could feel kind of on this vacation, which is a shame, was this feeling of dread that it was ending and that I had to go back to reality and had to work my corporate job. And I kind of realized that this wasn't the first time that I felt this, and I noticed a pattern that almost every time that I came back from a vacation and it was coming to an end, I had the same exact feeling. So I honestly had enough of this sadness every time I got back from vacation just because like it does not feel good. So today I wanted to dive into like what this feeling is and maybe talk about maybe a deeper psychological reason on why we feel this and some of the ways that we can fight this. Yes, you and I, how we can fight this sad feeling, or maybe just, get this feeling. Maybe it's for the better. I don't know. But let's dive into this shit and let's find out, shall we? So, as cliche as it sounds, like honestly, the week flew by in the blink of an eye. And it's like this week that I was having in vacation. So I went down to Charleston. It was hot as hell. It felt like this week I wasn't even conscious because like felt like there's days going by at absolutely Mach 10 maximum speed. I would wake up, we would do stuff, like I would have memories of doing stuff that day, but it would just like by the time it was all done, it was like holy cow, man, I just blinked and it's all over. And I thought that is such a weird feeling because I thought that when I'm working in my job, I think usually those fly by, but this is just a whole nother level. And it's weird because when I do the same mundane tasks over, the weeks go by fast, but the days go by slow. But when I'm on vacation, every day is fast. Everything is fast. Like it's honestly nuts. On vacation time, while I was experiencing new sights and new sounds and tasting new foods and enjoying different environments, the days went by so fast. And now here I am, like a couple days after vacation, wanting to plan my next trip, honestly. But then I think about it like this. It's like my mind, when I am done with vacation, it can't wait to look forward to the next thing. Or it's like my mind needs something to look forward to. Otherwise, I feel like I'm just wandering through space and time aimlessly. And then I'm scared that life is just going to really, really pass me by at that point. And to go into depth on this train of thought of always having something to look forward to, I think to myself, and maybe you guys do this as well, but is this really a healthy mindset or habit to have if I'm constantly chasing something new and I'm chasing new experiences? Am I capable? I wonder to myself, am I even capable of being content and happy if I have nothing to chase? I know that sounds sad and depressing as hell, but I think like this, guys, man. For the first 18 years of my life and your life, if you grew up in the United States, you don't really have this feeling. You don't need to worry about this because you have the school system, and the school system does a good job of creating structure within your day. And when I was a kid, I don't know about y'all, but the first thing, like the first day of school, after that, I was just looking forward to the next summer. So I didn't have time to really, I never really had time where I didn't have something to look forward to because I was either looking forward to summer or I was in summer enjoying that shit. And like I said before, the school system kind of lays it out there and it protects you from this feeling of lostness, maybe if that's a word, but because of the school system and it's so very structured. And when you graduate high school and you go to college, you have a little less structure, but with you still have some guardrails in place. Like you have winter break, you have fall break sometimes, and you have a summer to look forward to, or if you have an internship, you have something like that to look forward to or gaining that experience. But what they do not tell you is after you graduate from school, shit becomes real, bro. I swear, like you don't even gain consciousness. You don't even become who you are until after you graduate college, man. I've done a lot of thinking the last 2 years since I've graduated, and it's crazy how much time and life has changed. And if you're like me, you're most likely working a job that takes up part of your day, not the entire day. And then with the free time that you do have, it's up to you to decide what you can do for the remainder of the day. It's like the sandbox as a kid. You can do whatever you want. And it's like if I don't have something to look forward to on a weekly, maybe monthly basis, I honestly become like an ultra chud. I scroll, I play video games, I indulge in straight chud behaviors, to be honest. And I think in small doses, like being a chud, being a gooner, like that's fine. But I believe that, if you use that as a crutch, that's when I think I get a little nervous. And I apologize for this long tangent, but all of this to say, I think that the post vacation sadness or depression, if you want to call it, it stems from not having something to look forward to because what you were looking forward to for so long is over now. And one of my coworkers said this. Shout out to Sarab if you're watching this, bro. Hope you're doing well. But half of the fun and really a lot of the allure and the aura of having a vacation is like the week or so leading up to it or like before you leave, because the vibes are high. Even if you're at your job, it's like, dude, I just got to get through one more week and then I'm chilling for a while. And it makes just like the rest of that week and the rest of that time better, knowing that you have that vacation that is so close to happening. And I take the same concept of, looking forward to something is half the fun, half the battle. And I take this same sense and I apply it into days of the week. And what I mean by that, like, honestly, guys, let me know if you guys agree. But as a kid, I don't know if it was just me or if this was a common thing, but as a kid and you're growing up in school, Fridays and Saturdays were like the holy days for me. They were the absolute top notch, cream of the crop, cherry on top, best shit ever. No school. You had time to do stuff, spend time with friends, go to birthday parties, be with your family, whatever you wanted to do. But as a 24-year-old guy like I am today, honestly, maybe this is maturity happening. I don't know, but I think, guys, don't shoot me, but I think Thursdays are superior. And I think they're superior because you know that the weekend, or at least maybe the concept of a weekend, is coming up. So you have that mental crutch in a way, so you know the weekend is near. And it honestly makes work and life so much better, in my opinion. And to sum this idea up, maybe into one statement, so I don't have to drag this on, but I would describe it as like the hype that builds up before the actual event that you're looking forward to. The hype is sometimes better than the event itself. But let me know if I'm tripping in the comments or what. But I think that this, and I maybe this says something bad about my mindset, but it's like how I feel truly, and I'm curious if other people feel like the same feeling. And I can kind of see in a way that this is kind of a toxic mindset because will I ever enjoy the present? Will I ever enjoy the now? Will I enjoy Thursday for being a Thursday, not for being a precursor to Friday? I don't know. That is a topic for another video. Let me know, guys. The silver lining with this whole idea of post-vacation sadness and depression is that I have found that when I get back and I have this feeling of sadness after a great, awesome time on vacation, like it'll last a couple days, and as I adapt back to reality of working my job, and bro, that feeling of going back to work after vacation has got to be a top 10 most terrible feeling. Watch Mojo, top 10 most terrible feeling when it's all said and done. It's like you're on two sides of the emotional spectrum of, on one side you got vacation, pure joy, happiness, bliss, new experiences and memories or whatnot. And then on the other, man, it's just like mundane corporate slop. But like I said earlier on in the video, it only takes a couple of days until you kind of feel back to normal and come down from the highs. And although this feeling is only a couple of days, it sucks. It honestly sucks. Like when the first day back, it sucks. So that's honestly why I'm making this video. And that's why I want to go through, I think, 3 things that I want to start doing. And I think they've helped other people. And I'm hoping they can help me. And I'm hoping they can help you as well get over this sadness. Is that these techniques can apply into other aspects of our life, not just based on vacation. And I think you guys might want to stick around because these are going to be bangers. And honestly, they'll really open up your eyes. So with that being said, the first technique really isn't much of a technique. Rather, it's more of a mindset shift, if you want to call it that. But odds are, honestly, if you're coming back from vacation, you usually traveled, at least a decent bit away from your house. If not, maybe that's a staycation. So you traveled a decent a bit away from your house on your own time. And what has really helped me is that just taking a step back, realizing what vacation is and how blessed we are to even have the opportunity to go on these kind of trips and these things. How do we have free time to do this and have leisure or leisure, like whatever you want to call it? When I come back from a vacation, I realize how lucky and blessed that I am, that you are, that we are, how blessed we are to even be in this position. And I bet if you can afford any kind of flight, whatever the cheapest flight is, maybe $70 is the cheapest flight I think I've seen, or $20 if you're in the EU, whatever. If you can afford any flight and you can have time off where you don't have to work every single day of your life, that makes you probably in the top 1% of the entire world. And you have been blessed to be put in such a position, and myself included, where we have disposable income that we can even have the ability to take time off away from work in order for us to enjoy our time. And there are like 8 billion people on this earth, and out of everybody, it's crazy that we get to do that. Like we could be born into way worse situations. Like there's 8 billion people. I bet 7 billion people would do anything to get access to like simple necessities like clean water and food, let alone have the luxury of travel and seeing new cultures and experiencing new stuff. And I'm over here complaining about my neck pillow not fitting me right because I'm on a long ass flight. Like people are out here getting worms in their drinks, man. Like they can't drink that shit. So I truly believe that mindset shift, like I would say it's very important. It's a very important step in all of this because it makes you realize that not just with vacation especially, but other aspects of our life, that how blessed we truly are. And I feel like I say this in a lot of my videos. So if you're a frequent watcher, I'm sorry for talking your ear off, but the fact that you are watching this video on an electronic device with Wi-Fi or cell service or whatever, it just shows you once again how blessed we are, and we should not take this kind of shit for granted. Like the fact, man, it's crazy. Like the fact that I can even go on a flight and I can go out for food and see friends that I love, that should be enough to fill my cup. But to be completely frank, it doesn't for some goddamn reason, and that sadness still hits me, and I feel kind of like a spoiled brat. Which brings me to a second thing that has helped me, and it's a pretty unique one. So I got to give credit where credit is due, and I got this idea from reading a Reddit post a while back about this whole phenomenon of like post-vacation depression. And someone in the Reddit thread made a really good point that is so simple, yet it is so good and so enlightening. Basically, what they said is that whenever they travel and they get home and are feeling kind of down, they think back to what happened in the trip. And they pinpoint certain aspects and times within that trip when they were happiest. Whether it was an activity or being with a person, I think getting that clarity in our minds to see what made us the happiest is very key. Because what the person on Reddit did, they would bring in those happiest aspects in some sort of shape or form into their daily lives. For example, they say they loved biking around Tokyo, so they went home and they bought a bike and they started going on these bike rides, which filled their cup of happiness. And this way they had that connection from abroad and they can bring that back home to wherever they live. And after reading this, I was like, dude, I got to try this. So I pinpointed something that I really enjoyed about my previous vacation that I just got back home, which was playing soccer. Nothing crazy, no organized games or anything like that, but just learning how to dribble and juggle the ball and kind of shoot at a goal. That was fun. So I bought a ball here and I've been going to my local pitch occasionally. And every time, I gotta say, it's awesome. It's like those core memories come back, hanging out with my buddy, doing like soccer, like soccer on the beach. That was awesome. It's awesome just having that connection. And like I said, this technique really isn't the most complex thing, and it's not the most life-altering finding, but it has done me good, and I hope it does the same for you. But moving on to the third and final technique, this must be so simple, but it's just to take our time in our lives to reflect and do stuff that we weren't doing before. Hopefully, it's a good habit or something like that. But let me explain. And this may sound like a cop out answer, and I wouldn't totally disagree with you, but truly, what's nice about having a vacation and then coming back from it is that it kind of acts mentally as a restart. And within this restart that you have, you can formulate your brain. I think your brain is more easy to change after after it's like restart. And you can try these new habits, or you can try breaking these old ones that you wanted to leave for so long. But really, the beauty of coming back from vacation is reflecting on the time you had and all of those emotions, the highs, the lows, the mids, all of those emotions that you felt while you were away. And when you do this reflecting, you can probably parlay that into a new habit or breaking a bad one, like I said earlier. For example, if you weren't going to the gym consistently and you said to yourself, hey man, like after I get home from vacation, I will. Well, buddy, time's up because it's that time. So you got to start going to the gym. It gives your brain this time barrier. And I got to think like you feel guilty if you tell yourself, I'll go to the gym after vacation, but you don't start going. You will feel a lot more guilty than if you never said that and you never went on vacation and had this mental restart. It gives you this timing barrier, I think mentally, to actually act on some of your wants in your life. Hey, and a bonus thing I just thought of, which is kind of satire, but it honestly holds some truth, is just to plan your next vacation. That way you have something to look forward to and you can take your mind off what you were feeling previously. But hey, man, those were just my thoughts. Let me know what kind of things you guys do to get over this post-vacation depression. And please make sure to hit that subscribe button because it helps so much. And thank you all so much for watching and supporting this video. It is so much appreciated. And with all that being said, peace.